Welcome back to All Ball Podcast, where it's all ball all the time. You are here with your host, Sean and Isaiah. This is episode number 14. Today we're going to talk about some Rockets basketball, the Celtics struggles, and the Lakers struggles, and we'll get into some other stuff too. But before that, before I ask Isaiah how you doing today, man, I want to admit something to you. I do now believe that the race for the best player on the Utah Jazz is tied.
Okay, progress.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell's having very inefficient game, so this is what I want to start off with. But Isaiah, how you doing today, man?
Yeah, you see, I also wanted to start off with something small and slight really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Paul George, I know that man's back is sore. He's out here putting up better than his almost MVP year numbers. And the Clippers are only 3-4. You really hate to see it. You hate to see it.
And they get Kawhi back when, in April, right? Or
yeah,
March?
Assuming he does come back. Yeah, he's not coming back till spring, basically.
Yeah, they could be a late playoff push team. Who knows?
I mean, I think they'll still make the playoffs regardless. It's just they're definitely not a contender without him.
Right. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with our first topic, which is our Houston Rockets. Isaiah, they've been disappointing. So what are your, thoughts, pros, cons about them?
Disappointing is an understatement. The Rockets have been outright depressing, with the exception of that one close game we had with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And then even then, we still lost. So it's still pretty depressing. But no, just it's like the team forgets how basketball works. It's like, oh, they forget you're supposed to put the ball in the hoop. Oh, they forget you're not supposed to pass the ball to the people wearing different jerseys. Oh, we're supposed to play defense? What? And yeah, that's really what it looks like with this team when they're out there.
I'm going to say the last game, which was last night, was actually pretty entertaining versus the Suns. We kept it close for the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter came around, and we thought the game turned into conditioning. And started running around the court, not scoring the ball, not playing defense. But I think the team has shown improvement at least, but they're still bad. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of improvement from those first couple games where we were getting blown out to where now we at least make it close with some of the teams that are supposed to be like top tier contenders.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm happy with the improvement we made, but man, I just want to win a game. I want to win one more game at least,
1-7 is not a good look. So
no.
We really need to win something else. The only team that has one win in our conference, at least, is the Pelicans. If we look at the East too, then the Pistons are right there with us.
Yeah.
But still, that's not good company to be in. And I understand that we're a young, rebuilding team, but one win out of 8 games is awful.
Yeah, it's I was going through it this past whole week watching one day I had to watch the Texans lose, which is the most miserable team in Houston of all. I almost had to watch the Astros lose. They actually won that game, but obviously they lost the World Series. And then I had to watch the Rockets lose. All 3 teams played. I almost got to watch all 3 teams lose, and I would have been down bad the whole night. But but now that the Astros are gone, Texans are still terrible, and the Rockets can't win a game again. Man, it's sad times in Houston sports again.
Yeah, this is where you fall back on your enjoyment of the sport itself rather than your support for your city. because if you're only a fan of sports when it's a team in Houston, then yeah, you're not a sports fan right now. There's nothing to be a fan of.
Mm-mm. I've had to kind of do that with the Texans, just kind of forget that there's a team here in Houston and just watch football. But yeah, is there any like players that kind of stand out to you, have made improvements or have been really disappointing lately for the Rockets?
As far as disappointing, I'd probably say Kevin Porter Jr. is the one who has disappointed me the most
Mm-hmm.
because you really thought after the flashes that he gave us last season that he'd put in the off-season work and then come in and at least be consistently good. I'm not saying he needed to come out and be James Harden or come out and consistently get those 50 balls like that one he got against the Bucks last year,
Right.
but I mean at least come out near 20 point per game scorer efficiently and
Mm-hmm.
be the playmaker that he said he was going to be.
Right.
But he just has not done any of those things well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably say he's the most disappointing.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to agree with you because I thought Kevin Porter Jr. was gonna come out this year averaging 17 plus.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Christian Wood was gonna put up about 20 and 10. Jalen Green, I expected to put up about what he's doing right now, 15, maybe on a little better, like cleaner shooting stats, more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect Eric Gordon to be averaging 14. Jay Sean Tate, he's doing basically what he did last year,
mm-hmm.
and that's about it. Those are really like our main like true contributors for scoring. Every once in a while we get a good Shingun game or Kenyon Martin
Mm-hmm.
game. Kenyon Martin's been coming around. I've enjoyed watching him now. Um, but other than that, I just think that Kevin Porter Jr. either needs to take better shots or I don't know what he's doing wrong, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's really a confusing situation because from what I've seen, he seems timid and more passive with his game. And then when he does finally decide to take control more and go for shots, he goes for terrible shots.
Mm,
And then also there are a lot of times where he gets a good shot and then just can't hit it for whatever reason.
right.
So I honestly have no clue what the issue is with him and how it could get resolved because it's just all over the place.
And yesterday in last night's game, Josh Christopher walked up to the bench, and I was hoping to see some Josh Christopher minutes early in the first quarter, but Steven Silas kind of sat him down, and I don't know why he didn't put him in the game at all. I think that could have really, gave us a boost. Josh Christopher has been sitting on the bench the whole year, except in garbage minutes, and maybe a rookie, one of those two rookies, Garuba or Christopher's, the guy that can come in and kind of give us that boost. I mean, who knows? Honestly, we just got to try anything at this point.
Yeah, I don't know why we haven't given Garuba minutes because at the very least he could for sure come in and make a defensive impact. Like
Right.
I am almost certain that he should have played in that Lakers game,
Mm-hmm.
but even still, like Josh Christopher should also be getting minutes too,
Right.
just because I mean these are our guys. We made sure to get them with our picks. Why are we not utilizing them?
Right.
It's different for guys who have already had their time in the league and we're not playing them because we already know what they are and they're a little older.
Right.
But when we're talking about rookies that we just got, there's no reason for us to not be giving them playing time when we're already 1-7 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, what's the holdup here? Well, I don't know what Steven Silas is trying to do, what his game plan is, but there's absolutely no reason that he shouldn't be playing them when we're already a losing team.
Yeah, this is really sad. Like especially for me because I predicted this team to be, not bottom of the barrel at all. I predicted them to be at least like maybe like 13th to win more games than OKC and possibly the Spurs.
Hmm.
And it's not looking like that's going to happen this year. So, I mean, at this point, you know, I don't know why we're playing David Nwaba. Like, I get that we signed him to a 3-year deal, and he's only 29. But I mean, at this point, I don't know. I just feel like we should be running Gruba and Christopher and giving Brooks more minutes too.
Yeah, I don't even know what the point of signing Nawaba to a real deal was. We really don't need him on the team. I feel like what he does could be utilized so much better on a like actually contending team.
Mm-hmm.
So just having him come out here and give us good minutes feels more like he's just taking away from the players who need to develop than he's
Yeah.
actually doing something useful for us.
Right.
So yeah, I really don't get why Nawab was playing either, but I feel like the only reason they're playing him is just because he's here.
Mm-hmm.
But that also leads just back to what I said. Well, I don't understand why we even still have him in the first place.
Right. I'm a little more understanding with the DJ Augustine thing. Um,
Mhm.
we need a veteran on the floor at least to pass the ball around. He's a good veteran point guard, and I'm cool with him being here.
Oh yeah, I absolutely understand Augustine and still having Eric Gordon besides his contract, obviously.
Right.
But we need veteran guards because most of our younger guys are guards. And so
Mm,
you want to have veteran guards who, play the same position as them to help them further develop in their role.
right.
But
And
having David Nwaba, who I believe he plays the two sometimes, but he's really a three kind
yeah.
of. Yeah, we really don't need that because he's just Jay Sean Tate. Like, but not as good defensively, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much exactly what he reminds me of.
I mean, yeah, he basically is a duplicate of Chayshawn Tate. Gives good energy, plays hard defense, but like you said, he's not as good as defense as Chayshawn Tate.
Hmm.
He doesn't shoot the. I think Chayshawn Tate even shoots a three better than him, but um, even with Daniel House, he needs to be gone. He needs to get out of here. We need to
Yeah,
trade him for like 2 second rounders or something. Even a second rounder is fine with me. He just doesn't need to be on this team no more.
yeah. It just Daniel House. We've already gone in depth about this, but yeah, he needs to be gone.
Hmm. So, was there any other players that you wanted to talk about?
Just really quick, I don't like Christian Wood's inconsistency right now.
Hmm.
Like I really think he needs to get it together. I can understand Jalen Green's inconsistency and
Hmm.
well inefficiency too, because coming into the league as a scoring minded guard, it's a lot harder to find your footing.
Yeah.
So I can give him a pass. But Christian Wood, he was having a breakout season last season, and now he comes in and he's doing the same thing but worse and less consistent.
Yeah, I get you, man. He's same thing like with from the free throw line and everything too. He needs to be
Mm-hmm.
more consistent for the free throw line. One
Free
last
throw
thing for
line,
uh,
3 point line, just everywhere.
yeah. One last thing for me too is I want to see Şengün shoot more threes. His jump shot doesn't look bad. I mean, he's 3 for 10. On the season
On
so
the
far.
season.
Yeah, so go ahead and shoot that thing. But you want to go ahead and transition to our next topic now?
Yeah, we can move. We can move.
All right, so our next topic is going to be the Boston Celtics. We talked about them about 2 weeks ago. We're going to talk about the game talk about them again because they. I mean, I'll let you go ahead and explain, Isaiah. Go. You know, 'cause I mean, I don't know how to really talk about them, but
Okay, so as I mentioned a few episodes ago, I believe that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown should be split up
mm,
because they don't seem to be a very successful duo together. Not necessarily in terms of team success, because they have made some Eastern Conference Finals appearances, so that's there. But more so in the way that they mesh together on the court. They don't seem coherent, I should say, and feels more like two segmented players.
mm,
And apparently, I was right because recently Marcus Smart came out in a press interview and said, hey, these guys need to pass the ball more. Teams are game planning for them to try to score, and all they're doing is trying to score. So the teams are game planning perfectly, and that's the reason why we're losing games.
right.
So Marcus Smart clearly saw the exact same thing that I was seeing with this duo here, but obviously he's not going to advocate for one of the two best players on his team to get traded. But
Mm,
he's saying something needs to shake up in our system here because it's not working what these two guys are doing right now.
yeah. Do you think it was out of place for him to kind of say that to the media? Like, only a couple games. Well, I wouldn't say a couple, but about 10 games into the season.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not a good thing to come out into the media and air out dirty laundry. I had to learn that the hard way with my 2K My Player. But we've seen this with situations, obviously, in the real life with
Mm-hmm.
other teams too. I remember in the bubble, Michael Porter Jr. pretty much said the exact same thing about Jokic and Jamal Murray, and everybody in the media was clamping down on him. So it's not something that's really expected. It's not something that's supported. And you
Mm,
really shouldn't come out and do that. Just take that to your teammates, take that to your coaching staff, take that to your front office, take it somewhere internal, but don't put it in the media because it creates a whole stir that doesn't need to happen.
right. See, for me though, I think it's okay to come out and say that to the media if it's already been a problem and you've already tried to address it to your teammates and coaches, maybe the front office too, and nobody's kind of getting that point through their head. But if you have to take it to the media to get your teammates to notice, your two star players to notice, then maybe that's what you have to do.
Oh yeah,
I
it absolutely should be like a last resort if you've tried to take it to other people and it's not working. But at the same time, it's only been 9, 10 games.
right.
They're working with a new coach, first of all. And then on top of that, these two guys have carved their spot in the league based off their current play styles. You can't expect them to just turn that around in the span of a few games. So
Mhm.
I don't think now was necessarily the time for him to come out to the media with it. He could have waited.
Do you think the Celtics will turn it around the rest of this year?
Only if they can get it together. First of all, even besides the fact that they don't mesh well together, Jason Tatum has just been having an awful season so far. So if Jason Tatum can get it together and remember how to play like a near top 10 player in the league, then yeah, the Celtics can definitely turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's coming out here shooting 20-ish shots a game on Westbrook efficiency because he's only averaging 20-ish points a game,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. It is not like they have a real like third star. I mean, Marcus Smart, I would say is probably their third best player, but he's not really a star.
Hmm.
He's a good, solid player, but I don't think anywhere near a star. They have 0 Point Schroeder and Robert Williams and a couple other guys. I mean, who are you really going to lead on? Like Peyton Pritchard to really score you, that many? Aaron Nesmith, Jabari Parker. I mean, you can't lean on those guys. Josh Richardson is a shell of himself from what he was in Miami. So y'all have to pass the ball to get them more involved to be able to, they're not going to create for themselves.
Hmm.
They have to pass that ball unless they could drop 50 each night, which is not going to happen though.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you brought up that they don't have a third star is a key point here
Mm-hmm.
because if they had a third star, that third star would need to be a playmaker, but they don't have that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
up to these two guys who are gonna have the ball in their hands most of the time to at least somewhat between the two of them make up that playmaking hole that the third star would fill if they had one.
Right. And I feel like I asked you this the last time we talked about the Celtics, but do you see I guess you see a fit for a trade to be made here? Not keeping Tatum and Brown, but bringing someone in. I don't even think they have the assets though, but
Oh yeah,
if
definitely no.
if you can scrap one up.
If there was something I could do to make, I really don't know. I don't know because, like you said, they don't have the assets, and the way that I view trades is just I view them too realistically to even come up with some delusional trade
Mm,
for who can, oh, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, and Al Horford for something like I can't.
right. Yeah, you'd probably have to pull off some other trades before that to even get assets back. Probably
Mm,
like a Marcus Smart for like first or something like that. Robert Williams for first, and then throw like Al Horford to first and see what you can get. I don't know. Other than that,
yeah, and even then, I I don't know who's taking Al Horford to
right.
first.
Mm-mm. So, is there anything else you wanted to say about the Celtics other than just kind of what Marcus Smart came out and said in the interview?
No, that's it. I said all that needs to be said about them. Now it's on them to fix their problems.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the Lakers. They continue to struggle. They just blew away another, I think, 15-point plus lead to the Thunder for like the second time in a week.
Hmm.
Uh, I know I said this a couple episodes ago where I said the Lakers are basically, I think I said unrepairable,
Hmm.
and I kind of still stand by that. I think they're unrepairable. I don't think that they even make it out of the second round of the playoffs. They'll probably make it to the playoffs. We all kind of expected they have LeBron on their team, but I don't think they make it out of the second round just because of their depth. I mean, yeah, Carmelo's having a good season, but everyone else, I mean, you have DeAndre Jordan and um what's his name, Kent Bazemore combining for 3 points as two of your starters. Like, come on, man, y'all could do better than that. But what are your thoughts about him?
I'm kind of torn between agreeing and disagreeing with what you said
Mm-hmm.
because when you look at these two blown leads to the Thunder, it was without LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, without LeBron, this team is not going anywhere. That's Westbrook and AD. That doesn't sound like a winning duo in any scenario. But even when you look at the games where LeBron has played, they're barely scraping wins out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really concerning for this team's success. Now, obviously, it's not concerning to me because I don't care if they win or not. I hope they don't win. But
Right.
for their sake and their fan base's sake, barely getting 3 point, 1.4 point wins when LeBron is playing is not a good look.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what they. I really don't know what they could do because they don't have many assets themselves. So just like the Celtics, they're kind of stuck with what they have, and they just have to hope that the injured guys on their team can come back healthy and whole.
Right.
And that's really their only hope there. There's nothing else they can do.
And they almost lost to us on a last second shot, on a buzzer
Mm-hmm.
beater. And that's that all three of their big three had to put up 20 plus. So,
Exactly.
one of those guys has an off night. They're losing to a team like the Rockets. I mean, I don't know. I think they're still very questionable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. For sure. When your only hope of winning is LeBron shooting an elite clip, then yeah, you're in a tough spot.
Hmm. And it's like we've talked about LeBron at 37 years old now is no longer the LeBron of the Miami Heat days or the 2016 3-1 comeback days or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
This LeBron's old and tired, and he's still great, but he like we've talked about before, he doesn't have that switch to
Yeah.
just turn on no more and carry the team.
Yeah. He does not have the backpack anymore. He can't
Mm-mm.
just throw everybody in there and will the team to victory the same way.
No, he has the little handbag now. So.
I can only fit Westbrook in here.
Yeah.
I can't fit everybody.
um, okay, so is that all, what we're gonna talk about the Lakers? That was a little quick segment there of just kind of their struggles. We can move on to the what was the other team that we were gonna talk about?
One team that I want to talk about really quickly was the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I gotta say, the Mavericks have both impressed and disappointed me. They've impressed me because Jason Kidd proved me wrong. I thought the Mavericks were going to be awful just because of his previous track record as a coach,
Mm-hmm.
but they're actually a surprisingly more successful team than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they've disappointed me because this somewhat success is coming at the cost of Luka's success. Luka has had an awful start to the season, and it's pretty much the exact opposite of what I expected for this team. I expected the team to be awful, but Luka to put up MVP numbers. But honestly, it's been the other way around. The team has been pretty good because of their defensive improvements, but Luka and their offense as a whole has just been awful.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, like to think about this is it's kind of like carrying off of how we've talked about how this season's been really weird.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our the league's best shooters, scorers, whatever you're gonna say, have been shooting terrible. Luka's only shooting 25% right now for the three.
Mm-hmm.
And like Dame was shooting like 20% from 3-2 at one point.
Yeah, Steph has been pretty bad.
So I don't know what it is this year, but I think Luka will turn it around. I don't think he's gonna be that inconsistent for that long. Um, I don't know. The Mavericks have still impressed me though because I thought they were gonna be when they're 5-3 right now. I thought they were gonna be about 2-6 or something like that. I thought they were gonna be terrible this year. Also, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I wasn't even sure if they were gonna make the playoffs. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Then another minor thing I want to bring up, Miles Bridges. He has pretty much cemented himself as the far and away front runner for most improved player this year,
Mm-hmm.
putting up multiple 30-point games, averaging 24 and 8 on pretty great efficiency. And then he's even had some improved playmaking. I know there were a couple of games where he had 9 assists or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's pretty much locked himself in for that award if he keeps this up for the rest of the season.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see if he can actually keep it up for the rest of the season.
I mean, I ain't gonna complain. Carried my fantasy team, bro. I'm so glad I picked you up. It's crazy. He's leading the team in scoring.
Yeah, that's what.
He and it's by far too. He's leading Lamelo by like almost a whole 5 points.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's really surprising me because I think before the season, the way everyone saw this team was LaMelo's pretty much going to be leading them,
Yeah,
and everyone else is just kind of filling in his playmaking ability, like not filling in his playmaking ability, but they're feeding off of his playmaking ability, is what I mean.
right. I mean, that's what I thought. How I thought they were going to be this year too. I thought just Lamelo was going to create everything for them, but I mean, Miles Bridges. I definitely think he's already uh, most improved. I can't really even think of another player that could compete with him right now. I mean, just off the
Mm-hmm.
top of my head, but I thought Terry Rozier was going to be doing a little better. He's not shooting the three that well. Um, we talked about on one of our very like first podcasts, and I think I said I don't know why they gave him that deal or something like that. We were talking about the Terry Rozier signing or trade or something like that. I don't remember what it was, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of still stand by it, but I don't know. I think it's just like I said, all these shooters this year are just having these really bad slumps to begin, and we have like weird stuff like Carmelo going off, like
Yeah.
man, scorching hot. So I don't know. Just see a couple more games in. What's going on with them? Do you want to go ahead and talk about the 76ers starting off 7-1 without Ben Simmons?
Before we get to that, one last thing on the Hornets, I just want to add in is a
Hmm.
question that I have for you.
Okay.
Prior to the start of this season, like I said, everyone kind of saw LaMelo as the centerpiece for this team. With this
Okay.
explosion that Miles Bridges is on, do you now see the two of them as an untouchable duo to build around?
I think Bridges has to continue it for at least 3/4 of the season to
Mm-hmm.
even kind of judge that. Obviously, Lamelo is untouchable,
Mm-hmm.
but Miles Bridges. I mean, right now, if he continues playing the way, like I said, if he continues playing the way he does, I think you kind of have to keep him. He's playing really well, and they're both they're not from the same draft class, are they? No, no, no.
No.
Bridges is significantly older,
Yeah.
so is Bridges already on his out of his rookie deal, or is this his last year?
I believe this is his last year. It might be. I think this is his last year
Hmm.
because he's from the same draft that Mikal Bridges is from. I remember that specifically because they were drafted relatively close to each other,
Uh
and
huh.
people thought that they were related, and they're not
Oh, okay,
related at
okay.
all.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Okay. Well, then this man's gonna make a bag. So
Mm-hmm.
if he continues playing the way he's playing, but I'm gonna say we have to see because. But if you want me to give you a definite answer right now, I'm gonna say yeah. Why not? Why not make them untouchable for right now and just see what they do? They're only 20 and 23 years old, so it doesn't hurt at the moment to see what they could be.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Okay. Was that all about the Hornets?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now moving on to the 76ers, who are starting 7-1 without Ben Simmons. Do you think the 76ers can compete and be a contender in the playoffs without Ben Simmons?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't think they were ever truly a contender with him, and they seem to be doing fine without him.
Mm.
But then
So
when you have Seth Curry, who comes out multiple games leading the team in scoring, shooting like his brother, then I don't think there's anything to really worry about with this team besides Embiid's health, which is always a worry.
so if you're Daryl Morey, do you look at this and look at Ben Simmons and say, you know what, I'm gonna loosen up on the trade, on what I'm asking back for on the trade for Ben Simmons, or do you stay solid and ask for what you were originally asking for, a James Harden type of deal?
Oh, at this point, I absolutely loosen up on my restrictions because it's clear that no team is willing to offer a James Harden type of package.
Hmm.
Nobody in their right mind would be willing to offer a James Harden type of package
Right.
because James Harden, at the time that he was traded, was nearly a top 5 player in the league,
Hmm.
whereas Ben Simmons probably has never even sniffed top 15 since he's been in the league.
Right.
So asking for a trade of that caliber is ridiculous, even if you do count the fact that he's in his 20s. Still completely delusional to believe you're getting something like that back. So they might as well get that out of their mind, lock
Right.
in on getting him out and bringing in some other, not young, but young-ish guys who are also established and talented, and most importantly, who can shoot the ball.
Right. And this doesn't help Daryl Morey at all that they're doing so well, because you look at the team now, like other teams are going to say, if they were a losing team right now, oh, okay, they needed Ben Simmons to be good. But
Mm-hmm.
now that they're winning, they're like, oh, well, they don't really need Ben Simmons to be that good. So maybe he's not as impactful as we think he is. You know, well, that's how I look at it. But I don't know what you get for Ben Simmons at this point, because he's been out for so long. What can he really do? What has he really improved on? And what team are you talking to? Did Ben Simmons doesn't have a no trade clause, right?
No, no,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay. I don't know. I'm thinking of, I don't know what player I'm thinking of that has a no trade clause that's in trade rumors. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Deshaun Watson. But
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think there's anybody right now.
yeah, I was thinking of a player that's like holding out, and
Mhm.
but yeah. So I think, yeah, like I agree with you. I think you loosen up and you just trade for good players that fit around Toby and Seth and Embiid at this point.
Mhm.
And maybe try to get a first or a second around it too if you can. But you just got to ride with this team that's doing so well, off to a hot start, and just make them better from what they already are.
Yeah, and like I said, I completely agree with that. There's clearly no need for Simmons.
Hmm.
Maybe if they come across some harder competition, because when I think off the top of my head, I believe they played the Pistons twice in this not streak, but in this stretch. They played the
Right.
Trailblazers, who haven't been very good. They played the Hawks, who also haven't been very good. So yeah, I maybe we can hold out until they play like the Bucks. They played the Nets, and that was one of their 2 losses. So that's something to look out for.
Hmm. Wait, they
But
have two losses? I thought they only have one.
no, no, it's two. It's two.
Okay, okay. My bad. Well, they start the season 7-2. I thought it was 71.
Yeah,
But
no.
um I no, I don't think there's any wait for Ben Simmons to be here anymore. I think it's time for him to go. I don't think he wants to be here anymore. I
Oh
think
no, 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 no. I wasn't saying wait on if he needs to get moved or not. What I was saying about wait is evaluating how much he's worth.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's what the
okay,
way. No,
okay.
regardless, he needs to go just because he has clearly created a toxic situation in the locker room if he were to
Yeah.
come back, and it's not worth trying to deal with that.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, he needs to leave. The wait is just how much are you gonna set down and lock in on his worth.
Right. Yeah, because I was about to say, I think, Embiid, regardless of what he said on the home opener about support Ben Simmons or whatever, I think he's done with him. I think he's beyond done with him. I don't remember if it was after or before he said that.
No, it was
Um,
before. I know exactly what you're about to talk about.
but
Where he
before
said, "I
he was
don't
like,
care
I
about
don't
that
care about, yeah,
man."
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
was
it was
before.
before.
So yeah, he's beyond done with him.
Yeah.
I think the whole team is beyond done with him. The whole fan base is definitely beyond done with him, and everyone just needs to move on for him. He needs to be out of Philly as far away.
The entire city of Philly is done with him, so
Yeah.
he needs to leave.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you want to go ahead and wrap everything up?
No, we can wrap up right there. Nothing else is really sticking out to me.
All right. Well, that's going to be the end of the episode. If you like the episode, go ahead and like and subscribe, share, comment. Go follow our Instagram, All Ball Podcast YT. Isaiah, any last comments?
No, that's everything.
All right. Well, we'll catch you on the next episode. See y'all later.